If this is what your back looks like, there's a couple things that we can do. So you can see a little bit of the anatomy going on. You can see the infraspinatus right here. You can see the teres popping out kind of right here. That's kind of this whole chunk. You could see the traps going from the acromion all the way up into the neck, coming across into the acromion, kind of coming down, and then kind of going in here into the vertebrae, and then popping out and around here. And then you can see kind of the separation with the cervical spine. And then whenever you look at it, you can see the upper trap, the middle trap, and the lower trap. And the fibers are a little bit different. The upper trap fibers go a little bit higher, the middle trap go a little bit more straight, and the lower trap go a little bit more down. And that's the fiber orientation. And that's the way that you grow them, because you got to put force along fibers. And then if we look at the lats on this guy, they come a little bit lower. They come to about right here, kind of come down, kind of come right here. And then you're also going to have the lat fibers that come a little bit more across like this. So what he's going to need to do, he's going to need to get a little bit more thickness, mainly in the back. And what I would encourage him to do is, because he has pretty good development in the legs, what he can do is he can work on his posterior chain and he can hit the erectors, because that's going to give him more central thickness, because he doesn't have a lot of thickness as is. So if we were to work on more of the trap thickness by doing something like rows, we'd be able to pull out these lines a little bit more clearly, so he'd be able to see the anatomy a little bit better. And then if he just had more traps, like this would completely transform the way that his back looks, because we'd see clear ridges of what is defining the anatomy. Then if he wanted to have more width, sure, we could get a little bit more lats, but I would say the teres on this guy might grow a little bit easier in giving him the width, because if we look at it, this kind of physique has a lot more roundness in the teres muscles. So if he was to focus on growing the teres, he'd have a little bit more roundness with less muscle being built total. And by placing 1 pound of muscle just on the teres compared to 1 pound of muscle in the lats, he would see significant improvements in the width of his appearance from the back. And that's going to primarily be pull downs. So if he got really good at kind of like a neutral grip pull down, elbows in front, externally rotated, and then he got really good at some sort of row where he pulled towards his upper chest, that's going to be something that could really develop the thickness of these upper areas that pull out kind of all of this, rather than just worrying about the whole bottom half of his torso. And then with a small waist, like that's what I would recommend, because that would give him the most profound effect. It'd absolutely be worth trying to build his physique around the small waist and his ability to get relatively lean.